Christopher, hey, congratulations for A Taste of Hunger.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. It is such a fascinating, dramatic film. I felt pressure throughout
No,
the,
that's good. Thank you.
but I think it's just restaurants that put pressure on me. But what the original
It's a very
idea?
stressful working place. So making a stick fit, it doesn't come easy.
Yeah, I know. No kidding. So where did the original idea came from for A Taste of Hunger?
Well, that was basically me and Tobias, my co-script writer on this. He's a very accomplished writer and director himself. We wanted to find some common ground on a subject that we could both work on, and so we set on marriage. We both have lots of kids and a wife that we love, but we also know the troubles that are involved in making it all work and be a happy union. So we thought it would be interesting to work on that subject matter. So that was basically our starting point. And then from there, we're both very interested in, what defines people is also very much their work. It's something that we don't do as much in, I think, in Danish storytelling as you do in America, where people's work are very defining for who they are as characters. But in Denmark, we're very much interested in how they talk to each other in the bedroom or the living room. When they exit the house and go to their workplace, we cut scene. We don't follow them to the workplace. That doesn't interest us as much. But I'm very interested in what people do and the dreams and hopes they have in their work life. So we wanted something where it was all entwined, that work and life and pleasure was all, one complicated mixture. And so high cuisine just seemed a very interesting, a very scenic place to be.
So, film stories like this isn't usual in Dutch cinema.
I would say this keen interest in portraying the working life of people is uncommon in Danish cinema. It's not unless you do a crime movie where your job as a police investigator is your main focus. If you do drama and relationship stories, you usually don't dwell in what you actually do in your work life. But for this story, it just seems sort of intricate. You can't separate one or the other. It all fits together. It's a combination of those two that makes the story.
Absolutely. Now I'm gonna go and assume that you don't have a Michelin star restaurant. So how does one earn a Michelin star? Did you have to go into some research or made that up?
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of books on people that have gained this. Obviously, you can do that, but we have actually a ton of restaurants in Copenhagen that have gained these Michelin stars. And obviously, in the old school, where we starting writing it a couple of years ago, it was very rigid. What kind of restaurant you have, what kind of food you should present, how the service should be, how the linen should be, and the tables. There's a very rigid structure about that. So obviously we talk with different chefs about that and how the commitment you have to do to get that Michelin star, because obviously you can do great food and not get a Michelin star because you don't want to enter that kind of arena with that kind of service. It's also down to the kind of wine you have in your cellar. I mean, it's a complete list of to-dos if you want to have that Michelin star. But most people, if they're ambitious in the world, whatever they say about Michelin, they need to get that star, because without that star, they don't have the acclaim, and they won't able to charge the kind of prices for their food that will enable them to do interesting food. So it's a sort of a self-contained situation where whatever they feel about it, they need to get it. So we talked to a lot of chefs and went to a lot of restaurants and heard about their struggles and how they got them. And there are stories out there of people who have tried to got it. I mean, have worked relentlessly for 10 years trying to get that one star.
So how did you handle the food sequences? Are those real chefs, and did you eat them all afterwards?
Yeah. No food was thrown out. Everything was eaten, and it tasted wonderful. We had a chef that's called Boe, who's a very he didn't want to take part of that Michelin race. He's at the top of his game. He's as good as any of the accomplished chefs, but he does a different kind of scene now. He's a very interesting and very knowledgeable chef. I had him connected with the project, and he designed the menus, and he was on set making the food, and the actors could, you know, keep going to him and have small questions about how would you have a knife, where would your pen be in your jacket, all these kind of little stuff that is telltale signs that we know about the business. So he would be our guy on set. Excuse me. Yeah.
So for you, there must have been an incredible, a little bit of pressure trying to recreate a Michelin star type of restaurant. Could you talk about the setting, the restaurant itself? You know, trying to recreate from top.
Nikolaj Danielsen was the production designer. I worked with him previously, but he was actually, before he became a production designer, or in between, he had his own restaurant. So he had already tried to have his own restaurant, and he worked with Bo Lindegaard, the chef. So in that sense, we were quite a tight crew that, where at least two of the people, not me, knew very intricate about having a restaurant, design of a restaurant. And I was very keen on this idea of having this centerpiece of this huge round table that could accommodate 24 eating customers. And obviously that table doesn't exist out there. So we had to create it ourselves, and we had to do this top shot of it. So we had to create a restaurant around this table, basically. So that was the main idea, that food as a communion is something that we show where it's about entering also almost a theatrical place where the main theme or scene is the table, and the table is where the food is telling the tale, and it's a place where the chef is showing his craft. So all these ideas were engaged or involved in creating this restaurant.
Awesome, and I do like the tale of you know, the family, you know, sacrificing everything, you know, that put family pressures and then restaurant pressures. Could you talk about Katrina and Nicola, you know, being perfect for their roles? I mean, for the United States, Nicola is somebody that we're familiar with, but I was more impressed with Katrina in your film.
Katrina is a very impressive actress, and I mean, she's fairly known. She's had some huge roles in the last couple of years, but she hasn't been very active. Also, I think I talked to her that she's been very active as a mother, and she had this engagement of making sure that her kids got through kindergarten. Now that they are older, I think they're in school. So now she has the ability to go and engage herself in these larger commitments, of which basically also involved in, you know, starring in a feature film is just a huge engagement if you have a family. But she is an amazing actress, and she has a look and a presence that is also very sort of on Danish, that has a sort of feel of classic Hollywood, I think. But she still has this range of feelings, and the role is very complicated. I mean, she's a mother, she's a lover, she's involved in business. Everybody wants to take on her. She's controlling the home, and she's a mother for the kids, and she's the friend and lover and trustee of her husband. And she has all these, you know, she herself is like an octopus. She has all these people she has to serve, all these needs of other people. And I talked a lot about this, that in many ways there are many different Maggies in the movie. But I think, yeah, basically overall, I think she did a great job.
Terrific. Well, I really appreciate, Christoffer, that you've done this movie. I think it's a great drama, and I love this cinematography, by the way.
Well, thank you very much. Manuel Claro is my very dear old friend. We met in film school 20 years ago. So we've done a lot of movies together. He's very good.
Great. Well, give him my kudos to him
I will.
For everything. Thank you very much for speaking to us.
Thank you.
Hopefully,
nice talking to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye now.
Thank you.